Say you're on the mountain and it starts to get really cold out, pull open the zipper where you have this little canister stored on your shoulder there. Take this, you push it onto that right there, and then it goes and inflates the jacket. Compare our technology to the standard fiber or fabric insulation that's currently being used. If you use about 5 millimeters of argon, you need about 12 to 13 millimeters of fiber or fabric insulation. If you use about 5 millimeters of our krypton, you'll need about 20 to 30 millimeters of a fiber insulation. So it's a very, very efficient insulator. The idea came from when I was scuba diving off the coast of Brazil and learned about how noble gases such as argon are used in deep sea scuba diving with the dry suits to keep you warm in extremely cold conditions such as Arctic diving. I was a snowboard instructor at the time and I figured, if they put this here, why can't we put it everywhere else? So I learned about this competition at BYU called the BYU Business Plan Competition, where students put together business plans and ideas and how they could take a new concept or product to market. And so I started pushing a PowerPoint around the MBA program and also with a bunch of engineers at the engineering departments and just started seeking out some students who might be interested in getting involved in this venture. And we put together a business plan and some prototypes and did pretty well on it actually. So this is the actual chamber system where the gas goes inside of. You can see that the membrane that contains it is pretty thin. It's just this right here. This can be between 0.5 millimeter or as small as 1/10 of a millimeter that goes inside of the jacket. So when it's deflated, it's very, very thin, like a very thin windbreaker. When you want to inflate the jacket, you just take one of these valve systems. Here we have a system that we call a Hotshot. This is one of the smaller valve systems. This allows you to be able to, you unscrew this little cup right here. And then you take one of these argon-filled canisters, you screw it into the base of this. Once you have that in there, then you take the cup and you stick it back on there. And then what you do is you unlock it, you stick it on the connector system right there. This is obviously our very first prototype. This is our very first prototype, doesn't look very attractive, but you connect it onto there and instantly inflate the jacket very quickly there. One of our other preferred systems is a dial system inside of a jacket where you turn the dial one direction to put gas in, turn it the other direction to let gas out, and essentially will go inside of a pocket just like this with a canister attached. And you zip it up around the dial there, and it allows you to have access to it still, and you turn that one direction or the other to let gas in or out. And there's actually a bladder system behind here that you can't see it inflate right now, but that's what it would inflate. Obviously, there's early stages in every prototype, and our very first prototype was essentially a little 4x4 square inch bladder system we filled with gas and said, look, we can put it inside of a system. And then we expanded from there, putting it inside of some jackets, and then we started figuring out how do we get these big argon tanks and use that to be able to put in your jacket without having to carry around a big argon tank. So we went down to little CO2 cartridge size canisters, and then valve systems that are made out of reinforced nylon plastic that are very light, very small as well, that can be incorporated easily into your jacket with connector systems, so they're detachable. So we've had some really great responses. We've got about 16 different companies, the biggest brands in the world, who have committed to a beta test this winter. Those include companies that do high-end ski jacket, alpine ski jackets, to camping equipment, hiking equipment, to boots, hydration systems, sleeping bags, camping pads, you name it. There's the biggest companies in the world are participating in this beta test right now. We'd love to have people come up to Ogden and test out the technology and give us some great feedback on how we can improve, and they can be part of the research and development process on this.